They say your best friend is the sister you choose. They say true friendship survives anything. They say the person standing beside you at your wedding should be the one who stood by you through everything. But sometimes, the person you trust, most, the friend you'd die for, the woman you call your sister, is actually planning the most devastating betrayal imaginable while smiling to your face. Tonight's tale comes from the darkest corners of Reddit, where Reddit stories' friends' betrayal reveal that sometimes the people closest to you are capable of the cruelest deceptions. This is the story of Lauren Hayes and Melissa Carter, best friends for 15 years, and how one discovered that her maid of honor was systematically stealing her entire life while pretending to help plan her wedding. This isn't just about friendship ending. This is about what happens when betrayal runs so deep that revenge becomes the only language the betrayer understands, and when a woman discovers that the sister of her heart was actually the snake in her garden. Lauren Hayes and Melissa Carter met in college during freshman orientation. They bonded immediately over shared interests, similar backgrounds, and that inexplicable chemistry that creates instant best friends. For 15 years, they were inseparable. They'd been roommates, traveled together, supported each other through breakups and career changes, and built a friendship that everyone envied. Lauren was a successful event planner who'd built her own boutique wedding planning company in Chicago. Melissa was a pharmaceutical sales representative who was charming, beautiful, and always seemed to have men falling at her feet. They complemented each other perfectly. Lauren was organized and practical. Melissa was spontaneous and fun. When Lauren got engaged to Marcus Thompson, a successful architect she'd been dating for 3 years, there was never any question about who would be her maid of honor. Melissa had been there through every stage of the relationship. She'd helped Lauren pick out first date outfits, celebrated every anniversary, and been genuinely thrilled when Marcus proposed during a romantic weekend in Napa Valley. The engagement ring was stunning, a custom-designed platinum band with a 2-carat center diamond flanked by sapphires. Marcus had worked with a jeweler for months to create something perfect for Lauren. The ring was worth $18,000 and was everything Lauren had ever dreamed of. Wedding planning began immediately. As a professional wedding planner, Lauren was organized and efficient. She booked the perfect venue, a historic estate overlooking Lake Michigan. She hired the best photographer, the most talented florist, and a caterer whose food was legendary. The wedding was scheduled for June 15th, 18 months away, giving Lauren plenty of time to create her dream celebration. Melissa was involved in every decision. As maid of honor, she helped with dress shopping, vendor meetings, menu tastings, and all the details that make weddings special. She threw Lauren an engagement party and was planning an elaborate bachelorette trip to Miami. She seemed genuinely thrilled for her best friend, but Melissa was hiding something that Lauren wouldn't discover until 10 months into wedding planning, when an accidental discovery would reveal that Melissa had been systematically betraying her in ways so calculated and cruel that they would destroy 15 years of friendship in a single devastating moment. The discovery happened on an ordinary Thursday evening. Lauren was at Melissa's apartment to go over bachelorette party details when Melissa's phone buzzed on the coffee table. Melissa was in the bathroom, and the phone screen lit up with a text. Message preview. Marcus just confirmed he'll be here at 8. See you tonight, babe. Lauren's heart stopped. Marcus? Marcus? At 8 p.m.? She checked her own messages. Marcus had told her he had a late meeting with a client and wouldn't be home until 10. Lauren's mind raced with innocent explanations. Maybe it was a different Marcus. Maybe it was about wedding planning. Maybe it was nothing. But something made Lauren pick up Melissa's phone. She knew Melissa's passcode. They'd always been that close, that trusting. What Lauren found in Melissa's messages would destroy her world. The messages with Marcus went back 8 months. 8 months of flirting, planning secret meetups, exchanging explicit photos, and planning a future together. But it wasn't just an affair. It was something far more sinister. Marcus and Melissa had been sleeping together since before Marcus proposed to Lauren. The engagement ring? Marcus had asked Melissa to help pick it out, and in the messages, Melissa joked about how she'd picked a ring she wanted to wear herself when he finally leaves Lauren for me. The wedding venue? Melissa had suggested it, because she'd always dreamed of getting married there herself. The photographer, florist, caterer? All vendors that Melissa had picked because she wanted them for her own wedding. The wedding she was planning with Marcus after he called off his wedding to Lauren. Every detail Lauren thought she'd been planning for her own wedding was actually being orchestrated by Melissa for the wedding she planned to have with Lauren's fiancé. But it got worse. As Lauren scrolled through months of messages, she discovered that Melissa and Marcus had been plotting Lauren's humiliation. They planned to wait until after the rehearsal dinner, when all the deposits were non-refundable and all the guests had arrived to announce that Marcus was calling off the wedding to be with Melissa. Marcus. Can you imagine Lauren's face when I tell her in front of everyone? She's so obsessed with perfection and planning. This will destroy her. Melissa. And I'll be there to comfort her while actually celebrating that I finally get what I want. Plus, we'll already have the perfect wedding planned. We'll just reschedule everything for us. Lauren. The best part is she's paying for everything. We literally don't have to do anything except show up and steal her wedding. Marcus. God, I love you. I can't wait to be rid of her. She's so boring and predictable. You're everything she's not. Lauren sat frozen in Melissa's bathroom, reading message after message detailing their affair, their mockery of her, and their plan to steal not just her fiancé but her entire wedding, humiliating her in front of everyone she loved. Most people would have confronted them immediately. Most people would have screamed, cried, ended the relationship on the spot. But Lauren was a wedding planner who specialized in managing crises and creating perfect events under pressure. And Lauren had just discovered she had 10 months to plan something much more important than a wedding. She had 10 months to orchestrate the most devastating revenge a betrayed woman has ever executed. Lauren took screenshots of everything. Thousands of messages, photos, planning documents. Then she carefully put Melissa's phone back exactly where it had been, composed herself, and walked out of the bathroom acting as if nothing had happened. You okay? Melissa asked with fake concern. You were in there a while. Just feeling a little off, Lauren lied smoothly. I think I'll head home early. We can plan the bachelorette another time. Lauren left Melissa's apartment and drove home in a fog. When she arrived, Marcus was out, probably with Melissa, though he'd claimed to be at a client meeting. Lauren sat in her home office and began planning the most important event of her professional career, the destruction of Marcus and Melissa. Lauren's revenge would unfold in 3 phases over the next 10 months. Phase 1. Continue wedding planning while secretly investigating and documenting. Phase 2. Set up Melissa and Marcus for maximum public humiliation. Phase 3. Execute. The perfect revenge at the rehearsal dinner they planned to ruin Phase 1 required Lauren to be the best actress of her life. For 10 months, she continued wedding planning with Melissa, discussing details, accepting suggestions, pretending complete ignorance. She went to dress fittings with Melissa and let her help choose the perfect gown. She laughed with Melissa about bridesmaid drama and thanked her for being such a supportive best friend. All while Lauren was secretly hiring private investigators, forensic accountants, and collecting evidence. Lauren discovered that Melissa's affair with Marcus wasn't her first betrayal. Melissa had slept with Lauren's high school boyfriend 6 years ago during a girls' trip, where Melissa claimed she'd randomly run into him. She'd sabotaged Lauren's interview for her dream job by calling the company anonymously to say Lauren was under investigation for fraud. She'd stolen thousands of dollars worth of jewelry from Lauren over the years, pieces Lauren thought she'd lost. Melissa had been systematically destroying Lauren's life for years while pretending to be her best friend. But Phase 1 wasn't just about documentation. It was about positioning. Lauren began making subtle changes to wedding plans, changes that would become crucial during Phase 3. She switched vendors without telling Melissa. She changed payment methods so Melissa couldn't access financial information. She created backup plans and contingencies. Most importantly, Lauren began building relationships with Marcus's family and Melissa's family, sharing concerns about stress and creating alliances she'd need later. Phase 2 began 6 months before the wedding. Lauren started subtly sabotaging Marcus and Melissa's relationship. She began leaving her phone where Marcus would see messages from a personal trainer, actually her gay colleague Jake, who agreed to help by sending flirty texts. Marcus, paranoid about being cheated on despite his own affair, started questioning Lauren about Jake. Lauren also started telling Melissa little lies about Marcus, that he'd mentioned wanting kids soon. Melissa hated children. That he was worried about money. Melissa loved expensive things. That he wanted to move to the suburbs. Melissa was obsessed with city life. The goal wasn't to break them up. The goal was to plant seeds of doubt that would explode during Phase 3. Lauren also began carefully orchestrating situations where Marcus and Melissa's affair nearly got discovered by others, creating stress and paranoia. A close call at a restaurant where Lauren's cousin almost saw them. A misunderstanding where Marcus's brother walked in on what looked like an intimate moment, actually carefully staged by Lauren. Marcus and Melissa grew paranoid, started fighting about being careful, and began resenting each other while still planning to steal Lauren's wedding. Phase 3 began the week of the wedding. Lauren had kept every vendor booking, confirmed every detail, and spent thousands of dollars on a wedding that she knew would never happen. Marcus and Melissa thought everything was proceeding according to Lauren's plan, which meant according to their plan to steal it. The rehearsal dinner was scheduled for Friday night at an elegant restaurant Lauren's family had rented out. All the guests had arrived, 75 people including both families, the bridal party, and close friends. Marcus and Melissa both assumed this was when they'd announce the betrayal and watch Lauren fall apart. But Lauren had other plans. The dinner began normally. Toasts were made, stories were shared, everyone celebrated the couple. Marcus kept glancing at Melissa, waiting for the moment to strike. Melissa smiled at Lauren, probably savoring the idea of what was about to happen. Then Lauren stood up to make a toast. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," Lauren began, her voice steady. "Tomorrow was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. I was going to marry my best friend, with my other best friend standing beside me as maid of honor." People smiled, raised glasses. But 10 months ago, I discovered something that changed everything. And I decided that instead of canceling this weekend, I would use it to reveal the truth. The room went silent. Marcus's face went pale. Melissa looked confused, then horrified as understanding dawned. 10 months ago, I discovered that Marcus and Melissa have been having an affair. Not just an affair, they've been planning to steal my wedding. They planned to announce it tonight, right before the ceremony, when all the deposits were paid and everyone was here, to maximize my humiliation. Gasps erupted throughout the room. Marcus stood up. "Lauren, what are you—" "Sit down, Marcus," Lauren commanded, her voice like ice. "I'm not finished." She pulled out her phone and connected it to the restaurant's projection system, something she'd arranged in advance. "I have 10 months of messages. Between Marcus and Melissa planning their affair and my humiliation. I'm going to show you just a few." The screen lit up with screenshots. Can you imagine Lauren's face when I tell her in front of everyone? She's paying for everything and we get to steal her wedding. She's so boring and predictable. You're everything she's not. The best part is all her friends will know she wasn't good enough. Lauren let the messages sit on screen while the room erupted. Marcus's mother screamed at him. Melissa's parents stared in horror. Lauren's father moved toward Marcus but was held back by Lauren's brothers. "Wait," Lauren said loudly. "I'm not done." She advanced to the next slide. This one showed bank records. I hired a forensic accountant. Marcus has been stealing from me for 2 years. He's charged over $45,000 to credit cards in my name that I didn't know existed. Cards that Melissa helped him open using my information during one of our girls' nights when she got me drunk and copied my ID. Melissa tried to leave. Lauren's brothers blocked the door. That's identity theft. That's fraud. And I've already filed a police report. Next slide. More messages, these showing Melissa bragging about sabotaging Lauren's life for years. My maid of honor slept with my high school boyfriend. She sabotaged my dream job. She's stolen jewelry worth thousands. And she's been planning to steal my fiancé and my wedding. Lauren looked directly at Melissa. You wanted to stand beside me at my wedding as my best friend while planning to steal it. Instead, you get to stand beside me while I destroy your life. Final slide. Documents showing that Lauren had reported Melissa to her employer for using company resources for personal purposes, all the wedding planning she'd done on work time. To Marcus's employer for fabricating client meetings, all the times he claimed to be working but was with Melissa. And to law enforcement for identity theft and fraud. Marcus, you're being served with lawsuit papers for fraud and theft. Melissa, you're being served as an accessory. You're both being reported to law enforcement for identity theft. On cue, 2 process servers entered the restaurant and handed papers to both of them. The wedding tomorrow is canceled, Lauren announced. But I've kept all the vendors booked because I'm going to throw a party instead. A party celebrating the end of toxic relationships and the beginning of my life without either of you in it. Lauren looked around the room at the stunned faces. To my family and friends, thank you for being here. Please join me tomorrow for what will now be called Lauren's Liberation Party. There will be food, music, dancing, and celebration of honesty, loyalty, and cutting toxic people out of your life. To Marcus's family, I'm sorry you had to learn about your son this way. I've prepared a folder for each of you with evidence if you'd like to review it. To Melissa's family, the same goes for you. And to Marcus and Melissa, you wanted to humiliate me in front of everyone. Instead, I'm showing everyone exactly who you both are. Your families know. Your employers know. Law enforcement knows, and after tonight, the entire internet will know, because I'm sharing this story publicly. Lauren set down the microphone and walked out of the restaurant. Her family and true friends followed her, leaving Marcus and Melissa standing, alone with their horrified families and the wreckage of their plan. The aftermath was spectacular and swift. Marcus was fired from his architecture firm within 3 days when the evidence of his fraud and fake client meetings was revealed. His professional license came under review. The lawsuit for $45,000 plus damages moved forward quickly with Lauren's overwhelming evidence. Melissa lost her pharmaceutical sales job within a week. Her company had strict ethics policies, and using company time and resources for personal activities violated multiple policies. Her reputation in the industry was destroyed. Both Marcus and Melissa faced criminal charges for identity theft and fraud. They both eventually pled guilty to lesser charges to avoid prison time, but both have felony convictions on their records. Marcus's family cut him off completely. His parents were so horrified by his behavior that they testified on Lauren's behalf in the civil suit. Marcus ended up living with a distant cousin in another state, working odd jobs to pay his legal fees and the settlement to Lauren. Melissa's parents were equally devastated. Her mother told Lauren that she'd always sensed something wrong with Melissa, but never imagined this level of betrayal. They paid Lauren $20,000 as restitution for the stolen jewelry and sabotaged job opportunity, though they weren't legally obligated to. Marcus and Melissa's relationship imploded within a month of the rehearsal dinner exposure. Without Lauren to betray together, they had nothing in common. They each blamed the other for getting caught. Marcus claimed Melissa had seduced him. Melissa claimed Marcus had manipulated her. The relationship ended with mutual restraining orders. Lauren's liberation party the day after the rehearsal dinner became legendary. She converted what would have been her wedding into a celebration of survival. The 150 guests who showed up supported Lauren completely. The event was documented on social media and went viral with the hashtag #LiberationNotWedding. The story was picked up by news outlets. Bride exposes cheating fiancé and best friend's plot to steal her wedding at rehearsal dinner became a trending story. Lauren's event planning business exploded with new clients who respected her strength and planning skills. Lauren recovered every penny from Marcus through the lawsuit. plus punitive damages totaling $120,000. She used the money to expand her business and create a scholarship for young women studying event planning. 3 years after the betrayal, Lauren is thriving. Her event planning company is one of Chicago's most successful, known for flawless execution and crisis management. She wrote a book called Plan Your Life Like You Plan Your Wedding: Strategies for Success, that became a bestseller. Lauren eventually met someone new, Daniel, an attorney who specialized in fraud cases and had actually followed Lauren's story in the news. He admired her strategic thinking and courage. They dated for 2 years before getting engaged, and this time, the maid of honor was Lauren's sister, someone whose loyalty was never in question. Their wedding was beautiful, intimate, and drama-free. Lauren's vows included the line, "I've learned that true partnership isn't just about love, it's about loyalty, honesty, and choosing each other every single day." Marcus works construction in a different state, living paycheck to paycheck while paying off his debts. He's single and reportedly bitter about how one mistake ruined everything. He still doesn't understand that it wasn't one mistake. It was a deliberate pattern of betrayal that he documented in thousands of messages. Melissa works retail in a small town where nobody knows her history. She's lost all her college friends and hasn't spoken to her family in over a year. She wrote Lauren a letter once, apologizing and asking for forgiveness. Lauren never responded. The Reddit stories friends betrayal genre is filled with tales of backstabbing. But Lauren's story stands out because she didn't just expose the betrayal, she turned what was meant to be her moment of maximum humiliation into her moment of ultimate power. Marcus and Melissa planned the perfect theft. They thought they'd outsmarted Lauren, that her attention to detail and planning skills were weaknesses that made her predictable and easy to deceive. They forgot that someone who can plan a perfect wedding can also plan perfect revenge. Today, when people ask Lauren about what happened, she says, "They wanted to steal my wedding and leave me with nothing. Instead, I kept my dignity, my business, my reputation, and $120,000. They got felony convictions, unemployment, and each other. Until that fell apart too." Who really won? The rehearsal dinner video, Lauren's entire speech exposing Marcus and Melissa, has been viewed over 15 million times online. It's become a cautionary tale about betrayal, a masterclass in revenge, and proof that sometimes the best response to cruelty isn't more cruelty. It's the truth, delivered with perfect timing to maximum audience. Lauren's story reminds us that the Reddit stories friends' betrayal we read about aren't just cautionary tales. They're proof that betrayal can be survived, that revenge can be served with class, and that sometimes the person planning your special day needs to be just as good at planning your enemy's destruction. Melissa thought she was Lauren's maid of honor. She was actually the guest of honor at her own exposure party. And somewhere in Chicago, Lauren Hayes raises a glass each year on what would have been her wedding day, celebrating not the marriage she avoided, but the strength she discovered when her best friend tried to destroy her.